Hi, I'm Linda Quinlan.
I'm Ann Charles.
I'm Keith Ghostland, and this is All Things LGBTQ. We are taping on Tuesday, November 11th. All Things LGBTQ is taped at Orca Media in Montpelier, Vermont, which we recognize as being unceded Indigenous land. And Ann, you have something you would like to say?
I do. Since October 4th, when the U.S. brokered ceasefire occurred in Gaza, I haven't said anything, and I was waiting for things to sort themselves out. Sarah Schulman, a noted lesbian thinker, has given me permission to quote from a statement she made on Facebook. The Israelis are still starving and killing Gazans, and the corporate media is acting like none of this is happening, and it doesn't matter. I'm very excited for the public education campaign conducted in real life, in print, on podcasts, in forums at community centers and schools, exposing the conflict of the interest of U.S. reporters covering Israel while they have personal and familial ties to the IDF. This is professional corruption, and everyone should have the details. Inform the public, and the information is that 242 Gazans have been killed by Israelis since the U.S. brokered ceasefire began in October. Unacceptable and reprehensible. I was suspicious of it.
Thank you.
In the beginning, and rightly so.
And also, what they're, Israeli, on the settlements are really horrible,
on
too.
the West Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been awful.
Just pulling people and taking their houses.
Or killing and shooting them.
Anyway, on to the wonderful United States of America.
Yeah.
You mean this wasn't happening in the South?
The U.S. Supreme Court declined on Monday to hear a case challenge that decade-old landmark ruling granting constitutional rights to gay marriage. The conservative dominated court, as is customary, did not provide any explanation for its decision to reject the case of Kim Davis, a former county clerk in Kentucky, who defied a court order and refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples, had asked the court to overturn its decision legalizing gay marriage. And also, I think she owes a lot of money.
She does. She has to pay it all now.
There are two different fines. One is for $100,000 directly to the couple for whom she refused to issue the license, and then an additional $260,000 for the inconvenience and the consequences of her actions.
So I think she was looking primarily to get rid
out
of
of
that.
paying $360,000.
What a shame.
Yeah, I feel terrible. Anyway, the California Supreme Court rejected a First Amendment challenge to state law that protects the rights of gay and transgender people in nursing homes and forbids employees of those sites from using the wrong pronouns to address, or the right pronouns, whichever you want to, that violations of the LGBTQ long-term care residence Bill of Rights are not protected by the First Amendment because they relate to codes of conduct in which is in effect a workplace and a home. The pronouns provision constitutes a regulation of discriminatory conduct that incidentally affects speech, the court ruled.
So the court upheld people using their pronouns, or
No.
it ruled against people using their...
Yes, it rejected the First Amendment argument.
That's a shame.
So, yeah. And the New York Fashion Week 2022, one little model made history on the catwalk. 10-year-old Noella McMahon became the youngest trans model ever to walk the runway at Gotham's premier garment gathering. The pint-sized cover girl started social transition at the age of 4. She legally changed her name at age 7.
You have a picture?
Yes. There it is.
If it's Fashion
to
Week,
make
of
sure I
course you must have a
I do
picture.
have a fashion story.
I might have to send it. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer is demanding that a Pensacola theater cancel its Christmas drag show, calling it demonic and harmful to children, even though it's an 18 and older event. The Pensacola Sager Theater has scheduled a drag queen Christmas billed as the nation's longest running drag tour for December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. Pensacola will host a demonic, sexually explicit drag show at the city-owned Sager Theater, he wrote, the Attorney General,
Yeah.
on X, formerly Twitter. Pensacola shouldn't platform obscenities that denigrate its residents and expose kids to harmful content. They should cancel this event immediately.
Ooh.
Oh. And a little tribute to Nancy Pelosi, the first woman to serve as Speaker of the House and representative and one of the most influential lawmakers of modern era, announced Thursday that she will not seek re-election, concluding a 30-year congressional career marked by political mastery, moral clarity, and steadfast commitment to equality. Her retirement announcement underscored her deep connection to San Francisco's LGBT community. Pelosi invoked the city's resilience during the HIV and AIDS crisis, crediting its public health innovations as the foundation of the federal Ryan White Care Act, which she helped author. Her first speech in Congress urged President Reagan to act on AIDS, and she later secured permits for the AIDS Memorial Quilt's first display on the National Mall. So, our little
Go Nancy.
Go Nancy. Well, we won't see one like her for a long time, I don't think.
No.
Wisconsin state legislators have invoked a bill that would allow civil lawsuits against healthcare practitioners that provide gender-affirming care to youth. So, come on, Wisconsin, you've got 2 now Democratic senators. You know, it's that the Republicans own the State House. That's the problem. Senate Bill 405 would create a civil case of action against a health care provider. So, let's see. If, an interracial gay couple who turned a once fallow patch of rural Virginia into one of the state's most celebrated small farms awoke Wednesday to find described as an unspeakable act of hate. Bags of medical waste, including soiled bed sheets, used gloves, and human feces, scattered across their driveway near a large sign advertising Gardening Gay Farm. Police are investigating the matter.
May I issue a correction?
Yes.
There's a Republican senator in Wisconsin.
Oh, there is one Republican and one Democrat?
Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't think that Ron Johnson is such a jerk.
Ugh.
I didn't think that was right.
I thought they got rid of him, no?
No,
All right.
unfortunately.
Maybe next time. There's
Maybe
hope.
next time.
There'll be a... All right. A small town in Pennsylvania has become the first in the state to elect an out transgender mayor. Aria Dueso, a trans woman and Democrat, has been elected mayor of Downingtown, which is about 30 miles west of Philadelphia in Chester County. The final tallies show she earned 64% of the vote compared to Republican Rich Bryan's 34%. That's good. And I'll just read one more and then we'll move on to you. How's that?
Good.
Gay Republican John Reed has lost his race for Virginia's lieutenant governor after a campaign marred by scandal, with 86% of the vote in Democratic Ghazala Hazmi led Reid by 35% to 45%, and the Associated Press had called the race for her. Hazmi is the first Muslim woman elected to statewide office in the U.S. in Virginia. Nominees for governor and lieutenant governor run separately. The Republican nominee for governor was the current lieutenant governor, Winsome Earl Sales, who is intensely anti-LGBTQ. She lost decisively to Democrat Abigail Spanberger.
That was so
I know.
refreshing.
That was a fun night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You don't get much hope, so it was really fun to see all those Democrats win. Okay, Ian, off to you.
Okay, let us go to the first courageous annual Palapai Pride in Botswana. Let's look at a picture of this celebration rooted in courage, community, and love. One of the organizers, Sibone Boseswarelo, who is now pictured before you, says, "We marched with courage, pulling from the deepest parts of ourselves. We marched with laughter that cracked through the tension. We marched not because it was easy, but because it was necessary." She's part of a gang, AGANG community network, which focuses on families and friends of LGBTQ plus people in Botswana. She's also a B-Dup Botswana Pride Awards nominee for the Healing and Justice Award, a category which acknowledges contributions to wellness, mental health, and healing in the LGBTQ plus community across Botswana. The 2023 constitutional review process in Botswana made one thing evident, which is that Botswana still struggles to acknowledge the existence of LGBTQ people as full citizens. This is why the Agang Community Network embarked on this Pride celebration. It's a radical insistence on belonging, rooted in community, strengthened through intersectionality with families, friends, and allies who refuse to let our stories be erased. One of the most strategic decisions they made was to engage parents, religious leaders, and local community members, recognizing their value in inclusion and support. This march was not symbolic, it was intentional. So let's take a look now at the marchers. Since Botswana is one of those cases where there aren't draconian laws in place. In March of 2016, the Botswana Court of Appeals stated that members of the gay, lesbian, and transgender community, although no doubt a small majority and unacceptable to some on religious or other grounds, form part of the rich diversity of any nation and are fully entitled in Botswana, as in any other progressive state, to the constitutional protection of their dignity. Similarly, shortly after 2021, the Botswana courts declared criminalizing same-sex relations as unconstitutional because they violated the rights to privacy, liberty, dignity, and equality. Despite these legal wins, social stigma, cultural and religious opposition continue to affect the daily lived experience of LGBTQ people in Botswana. And I recall a U.S. teacher, a story I reported on several years ago, a U.S. gay teacher was teaching at an all-boys school in Botswana and decided to come out with the support of his principal and his friends and was driven out of the country. So this is such an act of courage to have a gay pride march.
How many people came?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
It didn't look very crowded, but that makes it even more
Dangerous, yeah.
dangerous and courageous. Now let's go to another LGBTQ pride march, this time in Buenos Aires. It's also against Javier Milei. You may recall, well, hundreds of thousands, let's look at a picture of that. Hundreds of thousands turned out in support of the LGBTQ plus community and against right-wing Argentine President Javier Milei's public attacks on it. This fellow is something else. He's the one being supported by Donald Trump.
Of course.
Financially. The political backdrop for the march was a resounding victory last week for Milei's party in legislative elections. Low voter turnout may have contributed to a strong showing that took pollsters in the opposition by surprise. His party won more than 40% of the vote nationwide, and 15 of 24 districts provided the Trump-aligned leader with a veto-proof number of votes in the legislature. Attendees at the march on Saturday marched under the slogan, "Against hate and violence, more pride and unity," as they navigated back downtown streets and boulevards toward the Capitol building. These days, with the current government, there's a lot of hate. You can see it in the streets and in the social media, a 22-year-old university said. That's why we're standing here, to defend our rights. And who we are is very key. Now, listen to what Milei's positions are. Earlier this year, he took the international far right's war on woke to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, with a fiery speech declaring that LGBTQ gender ideology constitutes pain and simple child abuse. They are pedophiles, he said, of the LGBTQ community. And one of his
It's no wonder they like each other.
Yeah, really. Well, one of the members of Congress is suing him over this particular comment. The mental virus of woke ideology is the great epidemic of our time that must be cured, he added. This is the cancer we need to get rid of, along with feminism, diversity, inclusion, abortion, environmentalism, and gender ideology. So he is sweeping in his condemnation of everything that's right and good in the world. The rhetorical assault inspired a massive demonstration days later after he made those comments. He responded by amending the country's gender identity law by decree. This measure, passed in 2012, had dropped requirements for diagnosis and treatment, requiring people to prove their gender identities, and it was meant to depathologize gender identity. But he dissolved the government agencies responsible for gender equality and anti-discrimination efforts. He amended this legislation, banning gender-affirming hormone treatments and surgeries. Now, Argentina has a history of pro-LGBTQ legislation that's under attack by Milei and his far-right supporters. Argentina was the first Latin American country to legalize same-sex marriage in 2012. Among the thousands of signs at the march, one read, "There is no pride without justice." So Argentina's fighting back.
Good.
Good news from Asia. South Korea census allows same-sex couples to identify as spouses in a historic change. While homosexuality is not criminalized in the country, same-sex marriage remains illegal. There are also no public anti-LGBTQ discrimination protections, and only 23% of the public fully supports LGBTQ people being open. Despite South Korea's portrayal in the global entertainment industry as modern and gay-friendly, the country has long tolerated LGBTQ discrimination, and in a 2020 report was ranked among the least gay-inclusive countries in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The absence of progress can be traced to lobbying efforts by the United Christian Churches of Korea and other church associations, and to very public hate campaigns by loosely affiliated groups like Anti-Homosexuality Christian Solidarity, who have deep-rooted connections to the country's
They're everywhere.
political crisis. Okay, so we have Rainbow Action Korea, a coalition of 49 LGBTQ groups who call this census measure a historic decision and the first step toward having LGBTQ plus citizens fully reflected in the national data. So,
Okay, we need to move on.
Okay.
So instead of a trivia question,
Okay.
November 20th is Transgender Day of Remembrance. And I want to remember Fern Feather, who was murdered in April of 2022 in Morristown. Well known within the Montpelier community, well loved within the Montpelier community. Seth Brunel was arrested and charged with Fern's murder. Seth's defense was, oh, Fern came on to me, I didn't know what to do. Basically a panic defense, which Vermont says
It's
that
not a go.
it's not a legal defense. So, but you know, after delay after delay after delay, it looked as though this trial was finally going to happen. And because of a procedural misstep, such as a transporting officer actually talking about the case with Mr.
That's right.
Brunel, rather than looking at life imprisonment for manslaughter, he was given 10 years of probation.
Was the officer reprimanded or?
I believe, if I remember correctly, the Lamoille County Sheriff immediately stepped in and said, I'm asking for an external investigation, and the person is no longer a deputy sheriff for Lamoille County.
Meaning they were fired.
They were let go. The reason I said no longer at Lamoille County.
They could be somewhere else.
Probably
Bingo,
are.
because Vermont, and no one tracks law enforcement officers who are let go because of misconduct. It doesn't automatically revoke their credentials.
So they could go to New Hampshire or anywhere.
They could go someplace else in Vermont.
Yeah.
So, but here in Montpelier, November 20th, at the UU Church, there may be a remembrance ceremony being organized. And it will be occurring from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., a potluck creation of a memorial, and then time together with a ritual. And if people are interested in contributing to it or helping with it, if you go on the UU's website, you can sign up to assist.
Okay.
So Rainbow Umbrella, the women's discussion group, you had a good time with Jane Goodall.
Yes. That was a great clip.
And our next topic is Radical Harmonies, a history of women's music.
The Michigan Women's Festival. I'll be waiting to see the notes on that one.
It starts before then, way before
well,
then. With, remember Ronnie Gilbert?
Yes.
From the Weavers?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Only we would remember, yeah. Okay, the book discussion group?
Yes.
What are we reading?
I think it's a Syrian novel about a Syrian family, and I will get back to you on that.
Okay. But then on November 18th,
Yes.
6 o'clock, Berry Social Club. It may be the LGBTQ plus story hour as created by Linda Quinlan
Yeah.
and sponsored by Rainbow Bridge Community Center.
Yep.
So
It's a collaboration.
Any other organizations sponsor it?
Rainbow Umbrella, Central Vermont.
Rainbow, okay.
Yep.
I got the rainbow.
Yeah.
I just needed to keep going.
So,
5
yes.
minutes, tell your story.
Yep. So come on down. Come and see and sign up for the next event.
And the intent is that this will now become a monthly.
I'm hoping
event.
if we can,
Okay.
get it off the ground and get it going, we'll continue.
It may not be 15 minutes, but 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
And somebody might be our timekeeper, so. And also, look on Rainbow Bridge Community Center's website for all of the other events that they're sponsoring,
Right.
hosting, whatever, such as the weekly Queer Coffee Clash
Yeah.
on Thursdays from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. And this is specifically for people 50 plus.
Right.
Fox Market. And again, Foxy's in Barrie has closed, so it's just Fox Market in East Montpelier.
And I think they've made their hours shorter.
They have scaled back, so they're not offering as much. So, but on Saturday, November 22nd, is a clothing swap. And what they say is that from Tuesday to Friday, leading up to the Saturday event, you can bring in your donations. You know, what is it that's ready to move on and come over on Saturday to pick out your new wardrobe for the upcoming season? And the book is?
The 30 Names of Night by Zain Jodhadkar.
Okay, I'll be
right.
waiting to hear if you like it or not.
It's a novel. The book received the Stonewall Book Award for Literature and the Lambda Literary Award for Transgender Fiction.
Oh,
All
my.
right.
Okay, also at Fox Market, Saturday afternoons, the next one may be November 22nd from 2 to 5 p.m. Just some Irish traditional music
I
makers
love Irish traditional music.
coming in and just entertaining you.
That's nice.
So at the Savoy on the 16th is the last, and it's called Advocate in the Palestine-Israel film series that Jewish Voice for Peace was sponsoring. And there's discussion after each one's. Queer Craft Festival is coming up Saturday, December 6th, 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, Old Labor Hall in
Time
Barrie.
to get the camera.
But it's also going out into the parking lot and the building next door because they have so many vendors
Well-
and so much interest.
I'm staying inside.
As long as there's heat, I'll come.
And specifically from 10 to 11 is a totally masked event. And then afterwards, indoors will be masked, outdoors is unmasked. And
Well, it's hard to give interviews when you're masked, though.
Will you take?
we put the microphone up close. Okay, and this final one, well, defying gravity. Can you imagine what this might be?
Gravity, no?
Well, it might be a benefit sponsored by Queer Vermont as a fundraiser for the Pride Center. November 22nd, there might be tea, a drag show, and going next door to see Wicked. And you can go onto their website, get details, tickets, and they would like you to dress up. And I see somebody is already thinking they're the wizard.
No, she's a witch.
I'm not going there.
The good witch. See, she's got green on.
Moving on. And this final thing, keep an eye on the Flynn Theater. Go on their website. On February 15th, and there's only 2 tickets left, Fortune Feinmeister. On February 24th and 25th, and again, only 2 tickets left, Kinky Boots. On March
2 tickets left?
2 tickets left for Kinky Boots.
It must be gone by now.
Oh, no, I just checked it before I came up.
Oh, okay.
All right. And on March 24th and 25th, Book of Mormon. And then, of course, you probably already have your tickets for March 31st. And Melissa Etheridge.
No, we've
So-
seen her twice.
We've
this
also
when I-
seen Book of Mormon and
Yes.
Kinky Boots. And
Yeah.
I met Melissa at Stowe when she came to the Performing Arts Center there for a concert. She loves the Alpine ride. So back to you.
Well, we loved Kinky Boots. And, you know, Melissa's very loud, so if
Get
you're
ready.
going, earplugs. So we're going on to the election night, and the 34-year-old Democrat, Mondami, won as a Democratic Socialist and LGBTQ ally, and he beat New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, a Republican nominee, Curtis, is it Swilva?
Sweeva?
In a historic victory after running a grassroots campaign mobilized by young voters. Mondami won 50.4% of the vote, significantly ahead of Cuomo's 41.6%. So
All right.
we were doing a victory lap, weren't we?
We sure were.
Yeah.
We were cheering at the TV.
Yeah.
We cheered several times that night.
And then we had another death this week of not as upstanding, well, I shouldn't say that, but a war criminal, actually. Dick Cheney died.
Oh, yeah.
An architect of the disastrous Iraq War and vice president under Bush. He died at 84. While conservative on most issues, we have to say, he supported LGBTQ issues and his lesbian daughter.
And, you know, people are giving him credit for coming out against Trump and supporting
Yes.
Liz Cheney's opposition.
Yeah,
But it kind of will always be a war criminal to
yeah.
me.
Wasn't he Halliburton he owned? He made a lot of money in Iraq.
Yeah.
And I have, Trump was celebrating with a Gatsby party the day SNAP benefits were being cut off. And I'd like to quote from the great Gatsby.
Okay.
They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money and their vast carelessness, or whatever it was that kept them together, and let other people clean up the mess they had made. So,
Well said,
yes.
F. Scott.
Okay, enough said. Trump is in the process of denying student loan forgiveness if the person is associated with DEI projects in any way. This includes working with immigrant organizations. So,
And very much our communities, yeah.
yeah. Anybody who's has any social conscience at all are being banned. The son of famed Iranian-American poet Roger Satirat was arrested after allegedly plotting to bomb gay bars in Detroit in an ISIS-inspired attack, police sources said. Milo Satirat, 19, was apprehended at his father's home in Montclair, New Jersey on Wednesday in connection with the probe into the foiled attack, which was set to unfold on Halloween. In addition, 2 Michigan men charged with supplying weapons for this ISIS-inspired terror attack has been scouting LGBTQ-friendly bars, a Detroit suburb, and talked of copying a 2015 Paris onslaught that killed 130 people, according to the 72-page criminal complaint unsealed in federal court Monday. The document names Mohammed Ali and Majed Mahmoud, both 20 years old and from Dearborn, as conspiring to unleash a mass shooting on Halloween night, a fiendish plot. The suspects condemned Pumpkin, according to prosecutors.
Ew.
So, things are tough, from the State House to the Supreme Court. LGBTQ families need bold action and protection now, but if there's one thing our community has learned from countless marches in the streets with diaper bags and rainbow flags, it's that we need joy with our justice. That's why Family Equality is gathering an incredible slate of comedians for Night Out on Saturday, November 8th in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
You could fly out for that, Ann.
That's right.
And Democratic Representative Jolana Jones doesn't wait for permission to speak her mind. A trial lawyer, former track and field champion, and the first black out LGBT member of the Texas legislature. She's running for Congress in a crowded field, so let's root for her.
Yes.
And for my last story, Jonathan Bailey
Yes.
has been named People's Sexiest Man Alive for 2025, and here's his picture. So there you go. And
Yes, let's start with a bad story from Asia. 34 men were arrested for gay sex and then paraded through the street in an Indonesian raid. Nearly 3 dozen, this was October 19th. They were accused of organizing and attending a gay sex party. Police in Surabaya reportedly raided a private gathering at the Midtown Hotel in the city's Wongkokromo district sometime between 11 p.m. on October 18th and the early hours of October 19th. They were responding to reports of unusual activity on one of the hotel's floors. The hotel said they had no knowledge of it. Photos show the suspects barefoot and bound together by wrists, and at the wrists by zip ties, being paraded in front of a press scrum on October 22nd. And so I'll show you a picture now of them being arrested and on their knees, as you can see. While formal charges have not been announced, news sources note that the case is similar. The Indonesian government has been doing this for a while. It's all under Indonesia's controversial anti-pornography law, which defines pornography as broadly encompassing material that contravenes norms of community morality. It bans activities as well as explicit material, specifically deviant sexual intercourse, which includes consensual same-sex activity between adults. Indonesian police have increasingly used this anti-pornography law as a pretext for raids on LGBTQ plus gatherings. So that's bad news from Asia. Now,
do you have any clips?
Yes. Why?
Okay, I'm just
Funny
wondering.
you should mention that. I was just going to turn to this. This is, now we're in Europe. I'd like to tell you about Tove, which came from Finland in 2020. It's available on Amazon Prime. The setting is Helsinki, 1945. The end of the war brings a new sense of artistic and social freedom for painter Tove Jansson. Modern art, dizzying parties, and an open relationship with a married politician. Her unconventional life puts her at odds with her sculptor father's strict ideals. Tove's desire for liberty is put to the test when she meets theater director Vivica Bandler. Her love for Vivica is eclectic and all-consuming, but Tove begins to realize that the love she truly yearns for has to be reciprocated. As she struggles with her personal life, her creative endeavors take her in an unexpected direction. While focusing her artistic dreams on her painting, the work that started as a side project, the melancholic, haunting tales she told scared children in bomb shelters, rapidly takes on a life of its own. The exploits of the Moomins, infused with inspiration from her own life, bring Tove international fame and financial freedom. There's a daily comic strip, a stage play, and stories that continue to delight people around the world. But as she begins to find her artistic identity, she has to learn to find herself. Her unrequited love for Vivica is preventing her true liberty, and only by learning to break away from her can she truly be free. This is a lot of detail in this summary. Tove is a captivating drama about the creative energy of an iconic talent and her turbulent search for identity, desire, and freedom. So, friends, let's look at a trailer from Tove.
Det är länge sedan jag har sett dig måla.
Jag tycker det är svårt just nu.
Det där är inte konst.
Jag tror att fröken Jansson leder mig vid näsan.
Jag tror att livet är ett underbart äventyr. Man ska utforska alla dess kringelikrokar.
Har du någonsin kysst en kvinna? Vad är det här?
Det är morgon. Hon är så kall så allt hon rör vid fryser till is. Tycker du om mina tavlor?
De är fina, men de där är speciella.
Jag har ingen annan man än du. Och jag har ingen annan kvinna än Vivica.
Du kommer väl på premiären?
Interesting.
I thought so.
And what's it on?
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Let's go to the Netherlands, an exciting story.
I was gonna say, usually we like going to the Netherlands.
I know it, and here's a special reason. Let's take a look at Rob Jetten, 38, who is elected to be the Netherlands' first gay
Yes.
prime minister. And it's funny, I read this review in the article. It was almost like a fluff piece because he's involved with an athlete, and it was all about their marriage and how the athlete's going to move into the prime minister's residence. We saw a picture of Rob Jetten, 38. Let's see where we have about the athlete. His name is Nico Keenan. He's a two-time Olympian. He's Jetten's 28-year-old fiancé, dubbed Hockey Hunk by the Dutch website. The field hockey-playing Argentine native competed for his home country in the 2024 Paris Games. Last November, the couple jointly posted to their Instagram accounts with photos confirming they're soon-to-be Mr. and Mr. with the wedding ring.
Good.
Jetten said he popped the question at home just before they sat down for a romantic meal together. I thought it was about time, the future prime minister said last year. It just feels great. We're very happy together. I mean, you know, really, I'm glad. What are his policies? Well, Mr. Jetten grew up a self-confessed politics nerd in a small town in the south of Netherlands and came out when he was very young. He hasn't made his sexuality a major part of his political platform, but he's transparent about his identity. 5 years ago, he posted a video reading a long list of homophobic messages on his phone that he'd gotten. In a country where LGBTQ rights are widely supported, his far-right opponent did not make the new PM sexuality a campaign issue. Well, he really shouldn't have in the Netherlands. Instead, he used gay rights to highlight the intolerance of Muslims as another reason for excluding immigrants from the country, so he twisted that. He hasn't been a perfect candidate over the course of his young career. He led this party, the D66, to disastrous defeat in 2023. Some media critics have called him dull, while the label Robot Jetten has stuck. Robot Jetten is going to be prime minister, one reporter exclaimed to him as the election results became clear. Sometimes it can work out crazy in politics, he said, grinning. So, you know, his policies are buried in this story.
He's sort of centrist, isn't he?
He's socially liberal. He seems, his party won 21 seats. It was a closely fought battle between an anti-immigrant party. He campaigned on climate policy, affordable housing, and restoring trust in government. So
Good.
Would he like to come here?
maybe we'd like to have him.
Yeah.
But it was just so fluff about his partner. Okay, now I don't know about, haven't really covered this in the months that this has unfolded, because it's really a tacky, ugly story. But just let me tell you, a trial starts for 10 conspiracy theorists for cyberbullying France's First Lady. This is just so tacky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling her a
Saying she was
transgender.
trans. Yeah, 10 people have been involved. They were arrested. She's 47. Her husband is, she's 72. Her husband is 47. So then there were charges of pedophilia, in addition to the fact that people are alleging that she's trans. And she's right to take them to court, and I hope she
Slams them.
slams them.
I think
Mops
you have
the
time
floor
for
up
one
with-
more story, Ian, so pick it
Linda,
well.
I have several.
Well, you're about done.
Well, let me.
I may give time back to you.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, the UK, this is kind of boring, but I suppose interesting. The UK unveils its first memorial honoring LGBTQ veterans who served under the anti-gay ban. And here's a picture of them and, the king giving it to, the memorial is an open letter combining words taken from evidence that was used in investigations against service members while the ban was still in place. The text closes with a call to embrace our diversity and fight for our country. The memorial's website says it serves as a place of reflection, recognition, and remembrance, ensuring that the stories of those who served and those who suffered are never forgotten. While homosexuality was decriminalized in the UK in 1967, the military held a ban against LGBTQ plus personnel until the year 2000. During that time, LGBTQ people were subject to intensive investigations filled with invasive questions about their private lives. Their investigations often resulted in people being dismissed without pay or pension, and some even faced prison time. The artists say that the concept for the memorial symbolizes the personal letters of endearment collected as evidence to convict, expel, and imprison LGBTQ personnel during the ban, and the anxiety of living in constant fear of receiving a formal letter of accusation. The dedication of the memorial marks King Charles's first official support for the community since he became king in September 2022. Like his mother and predecessor, Queen Elizabeth II, Charles has largely avoided discussing LGBTQ rights publicly. That has led activists like Peter Tatchell to say through his silence, he acquiesces to our tormentors. Prince William and Prince Henry, however, have both supported the LGBTQ plus community through positive messages and HIV initiatives. So I have two more stories, but we'll go on to Keith.
The pressure's on me. Okay, the first story, most of our communities already know, and it's about Leah Smith, who was a senior at Middlebury College, who was reported missing and was found 5 days later and determined to be death by suicide. But what the mainstream media did not include in any of their coverage, they used the correct pronouns, but they never identified that she was a transgender woman. They also left out significant history that her family in California had posted, and media within our communities made the point of going and finding. She competed as a transgender athlete in California on the swimming and diving team. And when she came to Middlebury in her freshman year, she also competed and was one of the outstanding stars. And then there was the ban on transgender athletes by executive order from the current regime. And she stood up and she talked about her experience. She talked about what it was like to go into a locker room where you weren't totally welcomed, and there not really being an environment where she felt comfortable or that she really fit in. And she stood up for
Wasn't there some
transgender.
torturous?
She stood up for transgender athletes, transgender rights, said, and she took a year off from competing, saying, I just can't deal with this, because she was targeted, and this is where you're going. Website, X account, he cheated, where it was after she, as a transgender athlete, and a whole host of other transgender athletes, demeaning, dead naming them, your comments about, being referred to pedophiles, etc. And he cheated, bragged in that Middlebury had to take down Leah's diving record because of the ban on transgender athletes. So basically, they were saying, we were able to erase you. So this was from Leah's family. And they have asked that if people want to do something, please donate to the Prison Center for Queer and Trans Life at Middlebury College. Don't do anything else. Please do that. Leah will be remembered for her deep sense of empathy, her clever puns, her keen mind, particularly with respect to analytical matters, that double major in statistics and her robust and infectious laugh, her love of poetry and music, which she performed both as an accomplished pianist and trombonist, and perhaps most importantly, her undaunted courage. And this is the comment from trans journalist Aaron Reed, and much like your Gaza statement, these policy slamming the anti-transgender leaders, the harassment, and the policies that led to Leah's death by suicide, these policies carry blood on their hands. Transgender advocates have warned for years that the relentless criminalization and isolation of our community would lead to deaths. Leah deserved better. Better than this government, better than these institutions. Every transgender suicide is not just a tragedy, it's a murder. It's the foreseeable consequence of policies designed to make us disappear.
Oh, such a sad story.
Safe passage. So, but going off that, our Department of Children and Families in the state of Vermont may have recently got a letter from the current regime, the Administration for Children and Families, saying that, oh my, we might have to look at your federal funding, because it's been brought to my attention that certain policies and procedures in Vermont deny qualified foster and adoptive parents the opportunity to provide children a loving home solely because they cannot, in good conscience, commit to affirming a hypothetical child's gender identity. Such policies are contrary to the purpose of child welfare programs and inconsistent with our interpretation of federal diligent recruitment plans and constitutional protections, including the First Amendment. And First Amendment keeps coming up because they then could get it to the U.S. Supreme Court. Our Department of Children and Families, if you want to be a foster or adoptive parent, you have to say, yes, you will do what is in the best interest of the child. And we have very strong anti-discrimination statutes in place. So you have to agree that, yes,
Right.
indeed, you will uphold them. So it's been brought to our attention. We reported on this. It was two couples in southern Vermont who, based upon their Christian values, we can't sign that statement. So their case was taken on and is still under appeal by, the Alliance Defending Freedom. Sound familiar?
Sounds very familiar.
Vermont, however, was not the only state that got this letter. It also went to California, New York, and Massachusetts, I believe. And what our Department of Children and Family has said is, we're going to uphold the rights of our children.
Good.
And then said that their legal team is looking at, okay, what happens next? But withholding money from Vermont wouldn't be surprising since we didn't get the disaster declaration. FEMA money is slow in coming, and it looks as though we're sort of out of step.
Hung out to dry.
So, 2 minutes left. Very quickly, I'm not going to be able to give you time back.
That's okay.
Very quickly, there's been a discussion within the healthcare community for Vermont providers to get ready because of New Hampshire's statutes that are going into effect January 1st, prohibiting gender affirmation treatment for youth, and I believe is under the age of 21, not just 18, that there are people who have been going to Dartmouth or who have been referred to Dartmouth. Dartmouth can no longer
they'll
accept them
come here.
where they're going to go. New
Yeah.
Hampshire does have a rider provision in it that if you're already in treatment, that can continue.
It probably
fine.
depends on which border you're close to, Massachusetts or.
There you go.
Yeah.
So with that,
May we all remember every day to resist.